All right, Kathy, I'll do you a favor. They judge me in my mess, but it's okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Shernita Lee, and I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of the Office of Recruitment, Diversity, and Inclusion. Welcome to our inaugural Boucher Honor Society Tea. Each year, Virginia Tech receives numerous applications for the 5 coveted institutional spots. The selection committee, many of which are here today, is compiled of VT-affiliated Boucher members, and they are tasked with rating each application packet based on the 5 pillars of the Boucher Society, which are scholarship, leadership, character, service, and advocacy for students who have been traditionally underrepresented in the academy. We thank all of you for joining us in this momentous occasion, whether it be virtually or in person. Today, our inductees will receive a beautiful graduation cord to signify this important moment in their academic career, and that we hope you will wear with pride for commencement. The cord has 5 colors intertwined, and the meaning is as follows. First, you will see the colors white and blue. These colors represent Yale University. Red represents Dr. Boucher's courage to become the first African American to earn a PhD from any American university after completing his dissertation in physics in 1876. Yellow represents enlightenment, and lastly, green is the color of life and signifies growth. Virginia Tech is confident that each of our inductees here today will continue to be shining stars in their respective disciplines and remember their commitment to transform the academy. Thank you. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Shuntrice Hayes to share the history of the Boucher Honor Society.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Lee. I greatly appreciate your kind words, your support, and goodwill. President Sands, Dean Supernot, and Dr. DePaul. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to celebrate the outstanding students who have been nominated and recognized for induction into the Boucher Graduate Honor Society, and also to comment on Edward Boucher's indelible legacy on graduate education during our Graduate Education Week. As a founding member of the Boucher Graduate Honor Society, I've been asked to say a few words about its history. And as I prepare to do just that, and if I may, I would like to also say just a few brief words about my history with Virginia Tech. As an alumnus, I spent 4 wonderful years here. My big sister, whom I adore, is also an alumnus with a political science degree. She met and married her husband here, Ricky Scales, who has a degree, an alumnus, a degree in biology, and is also a member of the Virginia Tech Football Hall of Fame. On Saturday afternoons in Lane Stadium, he caught many touchdowns. Many touchdowns. I'm not a sports fan. From fabled quarterback Don Strock, and so I spent many Saturday afternoons as a 3rd grader cheering him on. My abiding affection with Virginia Tech really started, though, here in this building. My father was a professor at Virginia State University, a fellow land-grant university, and whenever he had to travel for conferences, it was usually to Virginia Tech. And so he would stay here on this site. It was formerly known as the Donaldson Brown Conference Center. It preceded the GLC Center. And so as an undergraduate, I have so many fond memories of meeting him here. Often my mother would travel with him while I was in school for lunch or dinner, and always warm hugs. So I have a lot of history with Virginia Tech, and it's wonderful to be here today. In 2016, I had the rare honor of presenting the Boucher Legacy Award to President Sands for his stalwart and dedicated leadership to cultivating a new generation of leaders in the Academy. President Sands is an honorary member, joins several luminaries such as the late John Hope Franklin, noted historian, former president of Phi Beta Kappa, and recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Marian Wright Edelman, champion for civil rights and children's rights, and she is the founder and president emerita for the Children's Defense Fund. Richard Blumenthal, senior U.S. Senator from Connecticut, Wayne Frederick, president of Howard University, and Peter Salovey, the president of Yale University, who, on the occasion of presenting fellow honorary member and founder Curtis Patton, professor emerita, Yale School of Medicine, with the Bouchet Medal, President Salovey said, and I quote, he lauded the Yale scientists for his commitment to ensuring that history remembers men like Edward Boucher, who pushed his institution, Yale, and indeed the nation, to recognize that African Americans and other minority scholars are vital to the production of knowledge in the academy. Dr. Patton is viewing from his home today in New Haven, Connecticut, remotely, and we extend warm greetings to him. The Boucher Graduate Honor Society, as we all know, was named for Edward Alexander Boucher, who in 1876 became the first African American to receive the doctorate degree in physics from Yale. The Boucher Society was founded on September 15, 2005, on what would have been Dr. Boucher's 153rd birthday. Since 2006, 1 year after the founding of the society, we have been joined and we continue to shape our path and sharpen our path through treasured collaborations with 19 research universities, and Virginia Tech was installed in 2005. However, prior to the founding of the Boucher Graduate Honor Society, I want to just shed a little light on that briefly and bring us to the current era, and it will be brief. Prior to the founding, there was a dramatic shift, paradigm shift, taking place within the landscape of graduate education. There were prevailing calls underscored by the thinking that doctoral students were perhaps too narrowly trained, too heavily entrenched in research specialty areas, and in many ways, quite frankly, not fully prepared for the range of opportunities that PhD holders will likely follow. These reforms were sparked in large part by the slowdown of the tenure track market in general, and for underrepresented minority doctoral students, especially in STEM fields, the job descriptions for many of these positions may well have read then that you need not apply. And again, this continues in many ways for URMs. Even well-intentioned colleges and universities still struggle to enact and sustain effective faculty recruitment, diverse faculty recruitment efforts. And so as we were forming the Boucher Graduate Honor Society, a lot of intention was placed on helping to shape this narrative. In closing, and in response to the often asked question, where do we go, where do we look to find qualified candidates for our hiring process? I submit to you that since the founding in 2005, more than 900 doctoral students from 19 active chapters have been inducted into the Boucher Graduate Honor Society at Edward Boucher's alma mater. I can think of no better way to comment on his indelible, impactful, and groundbreaking legacy than to share that statistic with you. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Hayes, Dr. Lee, Dean Surprenant, and it's Karen, Dr. DePaul. It's wonderful to have you back here. So thank you for the invitation to participate in this event. and it's especially nice to do this in person. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to celebrate Graduate Education Week with you and to highlight the impact of Edward Boucher on our graduate community. Almost 6 years ago, I was honored and humbled to accept the Edward A. Boucher Legacy Award on behalf of Virginia Tech. So, I mean, when I think back on that, I remember when Karen mentioned that possibility, I thought, well, what have I done to deserve that? And at that point, what we had done is made a commitment, and we had started moving. And you know, 6 years later, I think we've made progress. There's still so much more to do. But it was a wonderful event, just quickly reflecting on that. That's where I met President Wayne Frederick, and we've continued our friendship. As a matter of fact, we're collaborators now. And I wouldn't have probably been able to have that relationship without this event. So for that, it was very meaningful. And I learned quite a bit about Edward Boucher's life and legacy at that event. But what we have in any kind of recognition like this that goes to a leader, a president, it's really the individuals that work in the institution that make all these things happen. And I want to reflect on a few individuals and groups that have really gotten us to where we are right now and are continuing to propel us with inclusive VT. Those include Irving Linwood Pedro III. And for those of you who haven't met Irving Pedro, I hope you have the opportunity sometime soon. He's on campus at least once a year. He's in his late 80s now. But you probably know, I think everybody in this room knows, that he was the first black student to attend Virginia Tech in 1953. He did not finish at Virginia Tech, and that, I won't go through the whole story, but that is, if you don't know that story, you should read about it or ask him when you see him. He's a wonderful person and a great friend of Virginia Tech. Well, I had the opportunity to give him, present him with an honorary doctorate at commencement in 2016. We've only given 10 of those in the history of Virginia Tech. So that was a big deal for the university, but it was, I think, most importantly, it focused on his experience and gave us really a vehicle for having that conversation with our current students, many of whom hadn't heard the story of Irving Pedro. There's Charlie Yates, the first African-American student to graduate from Virginia Tech. He completed his degree without being allowed to sleep in a residence hall or eat a meal on campus. The Virginia Tech Board of Visitors, I want to recognize, who in 2005, and they have done this several times since, first endorsed our principles of community, affirming the inherent dignity and value of every person and the value of human diversity that enriches our life and the university. The many, many diversity champions who have worked tirelessly over the past really 20 plus, it even goes back further than that, 20 plus years, certainly well before I arrived at Virginia Tech 8 years ago. I've met a lot of them, and just their passion, their creativity, and their ability to be resilient around the challenges of the time, which evolve, as we know. Almost every year, we have a new way of dealing with moving forward with our mission to create an inclusive community that is diverse and equitable. And that's just a continuous and challenge that it's not sitting still. You've got to have a series of people who are committed, who hand the baton off readily when times change. And we've had that, and it's created, I think, a continuity that has been important to making the progress we have made. I'd also like to honor and mention Dr. Minna Pratt-Clark and her staff in OID, who have worked to establish inclusive VT as part of the fabric of the university to turn our intentions into actions and aspirations and accomplishments. When Minna came in, we had just flipped the model. We had eliminated the office down the hall. We had basically taken it all apart, which is a risky thing to do when you've had some momentum, but we felt it was important. And over time, we've restructured our approach to it, where we emphasize the commitment of the individual, the unit level aspirations and commitment. And it's not just something that is done from the top. It's not just something that a few people do. It has to be integrated into the whole experience. And of course, the diversity champions here at the graduate school who've been relentless in their passion to advance equity, community, and diversity at Virginia Tech, often through your scholarship, but also through your activism and your energy. It's just been an extraordinary community here in the graduate school. I'd like to just say a little bit more about Edward Alexander Boucher's legacy. You heard a little bit. He entered Yale 2 years before the founding of Virginia Tech. It's hard to believe. 83 years before we begrudgingly admitted Irving Pedro as an undergraduate student, so a little perspective on the time elapsed. And despite tremendous challenges, which I certainly can't imagine, he achieved great things while being described as, quote, a gentleman in the best sense of the term. In his own words, he endeavored to discharge his duty as a teacher, aimed to be a good citizen, and exemplify in his life the mottos of his alma mater. Edward Boucher's character and spirit allowed him to forge a path into the future 150 years ago. And it's that same kind of character and spirit that we need now to reshape higher education for this next 150 years, and specifically Virginia Tech. One thing that I think has really served us well is the integration of our aspirations in diversity, equity, and inclusion into our strategic plan. They're not a separate plan. They are fully integrated. So if you look up our Beyond Boundaries strategic plan, it is part of everything in that plan. And I think that has been central. That's a lesson learned, and I'm glad we've done that. We still have a lot of work to do in tenure and promotion practices, respecting all types of faculty work. You know, we talk about, even in our strategic plan, the value of inclusion, the value of broadening access, and we're still learning how to reflect that in the way we value the contributions of individuals. And rethinking the dissertation, and I think the graduate school has done a really wonderful job of creating pathways to the PhD that are very different than what I experienced when I was a graduate student. And also adopting a holistic view of graduate education. And our two deans, the ones I know, I have made a tremendous progress here in integrating the experience for our graduate students into something that's holistic, not just preparing them to be a scholar, but also teaching them and exposing them to the various aspects of the professoriate, to what it will be like to have a career in industry, all of those pathways, thinking of them in a holistic way. So success requires an environment where a broad range of people from different backgrounds can see themselves fitting in, and that's essentially why we launched Inclusive VT. We try to be more aware and thoughtful of our university's history, and that's particularly important this year as we're celebrating our sesquicentennial. The impact of our founding of our school had on Native nations and enslaved people, and the land, labor, and resources, and in many cases the labor they provided and the land we ended up occupying. And you can see this reflected in the way we've tried to approach the sesquicentennial celebration this year. As a matter of fact, we have events coming up this week, and actually they go for the next 6 months or so. So I encourage you to, if you're not exhausted from them already, I encourage you to participate in them, and I hope you like the way the story's being told. One of the things that I think is really important is the history, the Council on VT History that was created a couple of years ago has really dug deep and broadly to tell the story of Virginia Tech in a much different way, a much more inclusive way, a much more complementary way than we would have told before. So I thank all of I'm sure many of you were on those committees and made a great contribution. So we're at a position now, as you may hear from our, because we talk about it a lot, increasing representation among our undergraduates and graduate students. We've got, in our last class, 20% of our entering class was underrepresented minority. Back in 2017, it was 13%. We're aiming for 25. We're on that path. About 40% of our incoming class is now underrepresented or underserved, so first generation veterans, Pell eligible, underrepresented minorities. And I think the most important thing is that our 70-year graduation, our graduation rate, 4-year graduation rate is at about 70%, and the gap between underrepresented minority students and the students as a whole is down to about 2 percentage points, was about 12. And so it's not just about who you invite to apply, who you recruit, who you accept, but how do you take care of the students as they move their way through. I think we have a long way to go in almost everything else. This got good momentum with our undergraduates, but thank you for this group, especially for all the work that you do to move our institution forward. I'd like to stop there because I've talked long enough, and thank you for what you do for Virginia Tech and to honoring the legacy of Edward Boucher. I'd also like to especially congratulate our inductees this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Lee, Dr. Hayes, Dean DePaul, President Sands, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your words. I'd like to begin by recognizing Dr. Chantrese Hayes for being one of the founding and longstanding members of the Boucher Honor Society and for arranging this event. Thank you for all that you do. I'd also like to thank Dr. Shernita Lee and her team for their tireless efforts to create a diverse and inclusive environment for graduate students, and particularly the tremendous supports provided to help graduate students, in the words of Dean DePaul, thrive, not just survive, in their graduate education. But we've been talking a lot about the past and the university and all of these things, but today we're here to celebrate these wonderful individuals who are sitting in the front row here. The graduate school could not be more delighted to celebrate the contributions of our new Boucher Graduate Honor Society scholars. Out of the more than 6,500 graduate students we serve, these 5 students were selected not only due to their research and scholarship, but also their commitment to leadership, character, service, and advocacy. Among their many accomplishments include improving diversity, equity, and inclusion practices in engineering education, making science and higher education accessible to students from underrepresented backgrounds, facilitating learning for counselors to promote anti-racist, multicultural, and social justice, sustaining and evidence-based practices, acting as a peer mentor for graduate, undergraduate, and high school students, and working for improve access and equity in STEM education, and the internationalization of higher education and the experiences and outcomes of Black sub-Saharan African collegians, among many other things. That's just some of their accomplishments. I don't have time to read out all of them. And I don't have time to talk about their fabulous research and scholarship either, but you should look them up. They're the leaders of the future. So these scholars, researchers, and activists are the future of higher education and remind us of our aspirations to effectively promote diversity, inclusion, and belonging in our universities. These 5 individuals have not only enriched our lives here at Virginia Tech, but set an example for the betterment of society now and in the future. I'm so looking forward to the things that you accomplish, and congratulations, we're so proud of you. So we're now going to move on to the certificates. Okay, all right. So I will call your name and welcome each one of you as you come up. And you can stand and have your picture taken, and it'll be great. Looking forward to it. Oh, and Dean DePaul is going to get in on the ceremony and give you your honor cords. Fabulous. Okay. So the first up is Ishil Anakok. Gabby Carrillo. Anaid Shaver. Michelle White. And Johnny Woods, Jr. Thank you all so much for attending, and I will ask Dr. Lee to come up and
Sorry, we mixed it up a little bit, remix it. So, but the students know I didn't catch them off guard. So, in light of this year being virtual, we'd like to provide the opportunity for the students to say a few remarks. I think they have a lot of people they would like to thank, whether it's the past, present, and looking into the future. So that's why all of them have a little piece of paper in their hand to be like, I gotta say this out loud, oh my gosh. So we're going in alphabetical order if that's okay with everyone, so I don't have to hop up and down all day. We're just gonna keep rolling and end with Johnny. So Ishel, you'll come first. You're gonna bring us home, Johnny, like they say in Alabama.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here today and making this moment more special to us. I am pursuing my PhD in engineering education, and my main research is in engineering ethics education. And currently, I'm exploring the personal, institutional, and external factors that affect faculty decision while incorporating engineering ethics into design curriculum. My intention to be a member of the Boucher Honor Society is based on my personal and professional experiences since I moved to the States for my graduate education. As an international student, I integrated myself into academic and social life in the United States. I embraced success by infusing my identity, knowledge, skills into my research interests, building my leadership skills by practicing through community projects and serving communities to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. And today, it's a great honor to be a member of the Boucher Honor Society. I would like to thank the selection committee and the graduate school for recognizing my accomplishments as examples of the 5 pillars, which are scholarship, leadership, character, service, and advocacy. I earned this honor thanks to the amazing professionals who are in the Department of Engineering Education and also in graduate school, and my family and friends. I would like to acknowledge the role of the Office of Recruitment, Diversity, and Inclusion for this honor. I would like to thank my director, Dr. Shernida Lee, for giving me the opportunities and encouragement to promote DEI on campus. Also, I would like to thank 2 members of our office, Shayna Kleindis and Zuleika Woods, for your full support and also your contributions. I want to thank my advisor and my dissertation committee for encouraging me to grow not only in the field of engineering education, but also serve for our community. I'm looking forward to networking with scholars in the Boucher Honor Society to broaden my knowledge and skills within the 5 pillars and continue to make an impact in our society. Thanks again for being here today, and I would like to celebrate my scholars as well.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Gabby Carrillo. I'm a doctoral candidate in the Translational Biology, Medicine, and Health program at Virginia Tech. And my dissertation is focused on studying long-term infection in the brain and how that might be leading to changes in neural circuitry and ultimately causing the development of neuropsychiatric disorders like seizures and schizophrenia. So I'd like to start off by sharing just how significant and special this moment is for me to be inducted into the Bouchet Honor Society, or soon to be inducted. As we all know, Dr. Bouchet was the very first African-American scholar who earned his PhD in the United States, and to think about what that meant then and what that means still now for our communities, it's a truly remarkable accomplishment, but I think it also illustrates just how much work we have left to do to make higher education and academia more accessible, diverse, and also serving of our diverse communities. As a first-generation college graduate, I'm deeply grateful for all of the incredible mentors and communities who believed in me and made me feel like I belonged in this space, both in academia, higher education, and also in science, even through all of the imposter syndrome struggles. And so I'd like to take this time to thank some of the people and programs who have really made an impact in my career thus far. I'd like to thank the graduate school at Virginia Tech, especially Dr. Dean DePaul, the TBMH program, my research advisor, Mike Fox, many of the colleagues on both the Roanoke and Blacksburg campuses, and the Upward Bounds program at Virginia Tech. They all are doing so much to change the face of academia, to be more inclusive and nurturing of diversity. And really, they're the reason I'm here, standing here today. So I'm incredibly honored to be a part of the Bouchet Society, and I'm looking forward to all of the great things each one of us will accomplish together. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. This is so special to be in this space with all of you, and I'm so honored and humbled to be here because I'm a first-gen undergrad, graduate student in my family. So this is a very deep and special honor to me. And I'd like to thank my EDCO family, that is the Counseling, Education, and Supervision Department, because they have been inspirational, inspiring, and are so supportive. And so my chairs or co-chairs, Dr. Gerard Lawson, Dr. Tamika Grimes, as well as Dr. Laura Welfare, Dr. Brianna Ellington, and Dr. David Canola, as well as Dr. Fullen and Dr. Bodenhorn, because they've helped me get to this point where I am now. I'd also like to thank Dean DePaul, because she started the Future Professoriate program. And it has been so helpful in learning how I, as a future counselor, educator, and supervisor of future school counselors, can really help make a difference. I'd also like to acknowledge Dr. Shanetta Lee, who teaching as helping to be inclusive and diverse in the work that we're doing and to promote social justice in all the work we do. As a school counselor, we work with everybody and all the students. And so that will help me move forward in the work that I'm doing and trying to help teach future school counselors how to help students achieve whatever their dreams are and what they want to accomplish. And so to take a note from Dean DePaul that stuck with me since my Preparing the Future Professoriate course was the idea of inclusion. And so part of what I've thought and have added to that is not just inclusion, diversity, and equity, but the idea, which also includes anti-racism and accessibility. So for those who know me, I don't even have Twitter, but I do hashtags. And my dissertation is hashtag SOS cubed, a phenomenological study of counseling supervisors' experiences. And I say the SOS because in the world we're in right now, we really need to be aware and help to support those around us and to provide space for them to have their voice and opportunity to thrive. And so I use to take a little bit from Boucher with the idea of those 5 pillars is class. And I see myself as a collaborator, a leader, an advocate, a scholar, and a systemic agent of change. And that is because of the support and training I have received here at Virginia Tech. And so thank you to all of you, to my family, and to my squad hort who are always here to support me in all that I do. So thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Michelle White. I'm a 4th-year PhD candidate in the Biomedical Engineering and Mechanics department. So my research focuses on understanding microglia-induced inflammation following traumatic brain injury and how nanoparticles as a therapeutic strategy can mitigate the inflammatory response, and that also is, in decreasing behavioral and cognitive deficits as well, so depression, anxiety, and then in the future even taking that as far as looking at health disparities within the Black community, especially as we are continuously criminalized because of these different neuropsychiatric impairments, and seeing how we can continue to advocate for us and what that looks like with TBI outcomes. So being accepted into the Boucher Honor Society has been a very great accomplishment in my graduate career. Just to see a lot of my hard work celebrated in such a way has been amazing, and something I think about is the first person that trained me in the lab 4 years ago was the first Black student to graduate from my department that's been here for over 15 years, and just seeing how far we've come now and just how a lot of my initiatives have been a part of that has been amazing. And something Dean DePaul has said, we're here to survive, we're here to thrive, not just survive. And I feel like for a while I was barely surviving. So to see that I'm actually thriving as well has been pretty amazing. And I remember years ago too, Dr. Monet Roberts telling me about the Boucher Honor Society. I had no idea what it was. I was like, okay, I probably don't qualify for that, so I'll just keep going on about my life. And with that, I've published papers, have done many conferences, and then obviously a lot of my initiatives that have come out with anti-racism, and then also, just increasing recruitment, but also retention when it comes to students from minoritized backgrounds. And of course, it was brought up again. She brought it up, she was like, okay, so are you going to apply? And I was like, I guess so. And she helps me through that entire application, and I just cannot even begin to explain how thankful I am for her, to have her as a mentor, but who has supported me through everything with resources and just all of my opportunities and initiatives thus far, and also is just being one of my closest friends as well. So that's been really amazing. I also want to thank my advisor, Dr. Vandervoort, for just all the opportunities she's given me thus far within the graduate program and just in my research as well. And then with her and Dr. Jenny Munson just being one of my biggest advocates, that's just been something that has really gotten me where I am today. And I also want to thank my parents, my sister, my wonderful husband. They have continued to support me in all the ways they can. I know all the tears, they've been there. They know. So I can't even begin to appreciate them. And honestly, just the many organizations I've been a part of, New Horizons, NSBE, the DEI committee within BEAM, I am grateful to them for just allowing me to have a voice, allowing me to have a seat at the table. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bindelas gave me, I believe, some extra advantages here. And I believe Dr. Lee is aware when you tell academics, when you try to confirm them to a time frame, I don't think that normally works. Yeah. President Sands, with whom I've been in several spaces over the past 4 weeks. I think jokingly I said to my wife about 2 days ago, who's also a graduate student here, that I should probably begin to establish a Team Sand wall in my house, taking advantage of the moments I have been in spaces with him. Dean DePaul, Dean Supernam, Dr. Hayes, Dr. Lee, fellow inductees. I'd like to also acknowledge the work of the committee, selection committee, and our distinguished audience. I am a PhD candidate in the Department of Higher Education, and I'm struggling to say that because I cut across too many spheres. I also do a lot of work in the Department of Engineering Education, and so I am attempting today to make these remarks without any structure documentation. And somebody who knows me very well in this group, my wife, knows that sometimes I come out very good at doing that and sometimes I don't, but we'll see how I do today. So I am a foreign-born black personnel in the US. I come specifically from sub-Saharan Africa. I am a first-generation college student. I am a male, and so I utilize all these compounded identities in my scholarship and in my service to the communities that I belong to. And that has led me to my scholarship in terms of focusing on the outcomes and experiences of black sub-Saharan African-born students in the US. And I believe the reason why this is important is because by doing this, we try to disaggregate data within higher education and provides an opportunity where we can culturally and relevantly respond to different groups within our larger groups. And in that way, I believe we are better positioned to serve students. And so on that note, I think, embodies the characteristics of Boucher, and I'm glad for this opportunity. On too many fronts, from the standpoint of leadership, having served the African graduate student at Virginia Tech as vice president, having been on the Black Student Advisory Committee for the president of the university. I am delighted for these opportunities. And the Virginia Tech community grad school provides me the opportunity to serve along these lines. I'm grateful for that opportunity. I like to pay special acknowledgement to Dr. Homeru Mercy. I will do something a little different here. Will you please stand and let them see you? Because I say this to you all the time. He has mentored me to the extent that I have gained my confidence as a person who comes with accent in a community where having accent, or probably without having accent, demonstrates your ability to be smart. I contest that, and I contend against that very strongly because I believe that is a form of marginalization that people face within the society. And being affiliated with him has given me that opportunity to strive for myself and to go out there and represent myself ably. I like to acknowledge the hard work for my committees, my fellow inductees. I believe we all use our different experiences to contribute to the prominence of Virginia Tech, and I'm appreciative for the work you do, and I look forward to collaborating with you. I thank the grad school, Dr. Shanita Lee, for all you do, you and your team, and it's an honor to be a member of this community. I think there are more to be said, but I'd like to respect your 3 minutes, and so thank you.
That's graduation 101, following instructions? No, just, no, I can't. Thank you all. I don't want to stand between you all and all the lovely presentation. I want to thank my team again. Thank you, Shayna, for all of your hard work for setting this up. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hayes, for your vision. It starts with our regular check-in Zooms, and she's like, Sharnita, I got this crazy idea. And I was like, okay, you know, let's make it happen. So thank you for that, Dr. Hayes, and for the energy and just momentum to make this happen for you all as inductees. So it's inaugural, so that means we have to keep it going. So thank you, Dr. Hayes, for that. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you, President Sands. Thank you, Dr. DePaul, Dr. Hayes, Dean Supernaut. Thank you all for being here, and for everyone in the audience as well. And for those who are members of Boucher Honor Society, outside of y'all joining soon, can you please stand up? Thank you. All right, appreciate it. Thank you all for being here and also spreading the word about the great work of this Honor Society. All right, so with that, thank you all. Please eat, because we don't want to carry all that. And enjoy, and please make sure you network, and congratulations again, everyone. Thank you.